So I've been thinking about this for a while, and I don't know whether anyone else has noticed, but I genuinely think a triple threat match might be WWE's most dependable match type to get some of their classic and most greatest matches. Now, I know that's quite a bold statement, because, if you ask anyone, any WWE fan, for some of the greatest stipulations, you think Hell in a Cell, Ladder Match, Royal Rumble, TLC, Iron Man, even War Games. However, if I told you that WWE's best match type doesn't have a fancy name, no weapons, no steel structure, and can happen literally on any weekly TV show, they use triple threats as qualification matches for Elimination Chamber and Money in the Bank recently. Now, I genuinely think triple threat matches have quietly become some of WWE's most reliable match of the night contenders, and I don't think enough people are talking about it. Now, before we jump to the comments and start saying how every triple threat match isn't a classic, I know it's not. But if you look back over probably the past decade-ish, you'll find that three-way matches are outshining some of just the singles matches with bigger names in the matches. And yeah, it's even gotten to a point where when I'm watching pay-per-views or weekly TV, I'm looking forward more to the triple threat matches than I am the big star name singles matches. And yeah, I'd say the biggest reason for this nowadays is that there's a better flow to triple threat matches now. We're not just doing the same old, two people wrestle, then one takes a break and another comes in, they wrestle for a bit, vice versa, and this goes on until there's eventually a winner. I think that everyone in the match knows their role better. They have a good clash of styles, and all the action just doesn't slow down at any point. There's always something going on with the match. And it's even gotten to a point with shorter matches where even the winner isn't precisely the person who gets over the most. I've seen plenty of triple threat matches where one person who has lost the match didn't take a pin but has had a star-making performance. One of the examples of this is from AEW All Out 2025, I believe it was last year, where we had Kazuchika Okada, Konosuke Takeshita, and Mascara Dorada have a triple threat match for I believe at the time it was the Unified Championship. Mascara Dorada looked incredible in that match, and being in there with two of the biggest names in AEW right now, in Okada and Takeshita, he was made to look like a star, and since then I've been a big fan of Dorada and have gone really locked in when watching his matches because of how good he did in that, and it really made me realise how good he really is. So yeah, I think the more I have thought about this, the more I've realised triple threats haven't been so great in the past. I think about when did they transition into being massive and big matches that always deliver. And for me, I feel like a lot of people would say the WrestleMania 30 main event, Randy Orton, Batista, Daniel Bryan, Daniel Bryan's massive, iconic moment, and I feel like people probably get the match confused and kind of wound up a bit in the iconic moment, which is fair enough. I understand totally why people would do that, but I think the moment that triple threat matches changed for the better was a little bit further on than that, just under a year afterwards. Royal Rumble, John Cena versus Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins for the WWE Championship. That match, I think, changed the outlook of triple threat matches, and since that point, triple threat matches have just become so much better and such a massive quality of wrestling match. Since then, we've had some classic triple threat matches, from Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins versus The Miz at WrestleMania, Becky Lynch versus Asuka versus Charlotte Flair at TLC, to Obafemi versus Josh Briggs versus Dijak at Stand and Deliver, and CM Punk versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania last year. They're all completely different matches, completely different stories, completely different clashes of styles, but they all prove the same point. Triple threat matches have become the safest bets in wrestling in general, but mostly WWE. If you're looking for a great match, that's the one you should be concentrating on. And something else I noticed while putting this list of top triple threat matches together is just how many women's triple threat matches come into this, and they're absolutely brilliant and should be talked about more. You think of Io versus Ripley versus Belair from WrestleMania last year, Lynch versus Lyra versus Bayley from Evolution, Belair versus Asuka versus Lynch from Hell in a Cell a few years ago. These weren't just great matches, they were truly and genuinely brilliant matches, and I actually think that this stipulation has become one of the best ways of showing how good women's wrestling can be. But maybe you agree, maybe you don't. But to me, triple threat matches have gone from a match that I had very small interest in, it was just a way to, in a way, make a big star lose but have someone else take the pin, or change the championship around without the champion taking a pin. into some of the first matches I look forward to on a card. And yeah, whether it's pace, unpredictability, or just the quality of wrestling within the match. For the past decade plus, these matches have been consistently highlights of wrestling shows and dependable for classic matches in WWE, in TNA, in AEW, throughout the whole wrestling world. I feel like triple threat matches are completely slept on for one of the best stipulations just that wrestling has. As a result of that, though, tomorrow I'm going to be dropping on the channel a top 25 triple threat matches list, where I'm going to go through some of the matches that I've talked about today are on that list. You'll be able to see where they rank, as well as some of my favourite triple threat matches. I'm sure some that you'll agree as well should be on that list. But do comment below some triple threat matches that you really enjoyed, and yeah, just any discussion about triple threat matches. I feel like as a underrated stipulation, I think we could have a good discussion about it. So do drop some comments below about your favourite, your thoughts on the video, your favourite triple threat matches. I'm interested to see what people have got for it. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's a lot of good stuff coming up on the channel. This week there's going to be my predictions for Saturday night's main event. The TWR Top 100 continues with number 96, and at the weekend I am releasing my All-In London card I'd like to see. I know it's a few weeks out from All-In still, but I like to do these kind of fantasy booking cards, if you will, so do look out for that this weekend by subscribing and turn on the notification bell, and I'll thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.